Good morning and welcome back to TayTayz-World. We're already off to a bad start this morning because I missed my Pilates class. So I am going to go for a little run. Cannot believe I missed my Pilates class. I'm actually very disappointed in myself because I had to pay that $10 fee. Like, Taylor, literally I'm laying in bed. It's 9:56. Check-in with Marissa at 10 a.m. I said, oh, I'm gonna have to cancel that. But I still need to go work out. Guys, I actually do have a new skincare routine and I'll show you guys what products I exactly use for dry skin. The products can be used for also combo skin as well. Green tea and spinach vitamin superfood cleanser. As y'all see, I mean, I wouldn't lie if it wasn't almost empty and I need to get a new one. It doesn't strip the texture away from your skin, which I really like, because I know sometimes cleansers can be a little bit more rough, as in like exfoliants, but this serves as like a very gentle, soft cleanser. And I'm clean! When it comes to my skincare routine, I like to achieve a dewy look, and I like my skin to be like that glass skin effect. So I start by using the Superfood Skin Drip Smooth Glow Serum. So it has kale, peptide, dandelion root, niacinamide, and postbiotic. Put this on as my base, and it really just hydrates and gives that first layer of that glass skin effect. And then I go in with my Sunday Riley CEO Vitamin C Serum. This vitamin C serum I've been using for years, but still giving that glowy look. I like to make sure I get my under eyes because I don't want to age. We don't need that. And then I go in with Youth Screen. So this is my favorite sunscreen I've used so far. It has aloe vera in it. It also smells like the superfood cleanser. And I love the applicator as it has like a thin tip. When you rub it in, there's literally no white cast, which is amazing because I know some sunscreens can leave some residue. My skin is starting to glow with just these 3 products, and we have 3 more. So next I go in with the You to the People Superfood Air Whip Moisture Cream. This moisture cream is very airy. That's like the best word I can describe it. It feels like you're not really putting anything on your skin except for the maximum hydration. Moisturizer does calm any like redness. I'm not a dermatologist, okay? But this skin routine has been working. What I've just added that's new to my routine, Tatcha just sent me a few products. The Tatcha Dewy Skin Cream, it's a thicker moisturizer, but man, this literally completes my whole radiant, glowy skin look. Like, these are all products that contain niacinamide, hyaluronic acid. You can actually see the glow with the light. How I keep my skin clear is I drink lots of water. I'm a big electrolyte person, so I actually can't drink water without my electrolytes in it. I think water tastes nasty. I've been really into Mary Ruth and then the Let Me Grow anti-shedding keratin pills. So I kind of been taking those for the past 8 months, seeing tremendous results in my hair. This was my hair in December. This was my hair this past March. Next, I'm going in with the Tatcha Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. And this setting dewy mist completes this glowy skin prep routine. And my skin just feels great. And literally look at that glow. So after I get back from my run, I've been working on spring cleaning. So I'm gonna come back and tackle my last section of clothes. The closet is just a disaster. Just a backstory on where I'm living right now. I live in McKinney, Texas. I had to move in with my mom. Not the move that I wanted to do, but in terms of financial reasons, I had really no choice. I didn't want to get my own place only because I was like, you know what? This gives me time to save and save my money to move out with Bergie as we're looking to move in together next February, so we don't have that long. Living at home is not the worst thing possible. I've gotten more family time with my mom. I've gotten to cherish those moments with her, you know, as she is getting older. It's nice to be there with your parents, especially when they're going through a tough time. I know my mom was going through a very tough time financially, and she was actually helping me financially as well. And, you know, she had come to that point that she cannot help me anymore. But I lived in this luxurious apartment in downtown Dallas that was $2,900 a month, and we couldn't afford it anymore. My mom was retired from aerospace. We're still living in a great house. She just had to downsize, and we're living in a townhome, which is honestly exactly what I grew up in. I come from divorced parents. I've always grown up in a townhouse. I lived in Bellflower, California for literally 16 years, and then I moved to Orange County, and then I moved to Texas. That's just a little backstory of my living situation. I don't really have my own personal space, so I am just doing this the best I can, to be honest. So I'm going to go for my run, and then I'm gonna come back and we need to spring clean. So, okay guys, I am back from my run. We also had a scandal. My camera charger, it's in Dallas. It's at my friend's house. Literally had to run to Target to go pick up a new camera charger. Let's get to spring cleaning. Let me just show you guys what I'm bringing out, because the thing is my stuff is in my mom's closet because I have all my other clothes in 3 other closets. And yes, that is very, very crazy. I have 3 closets filled with clothes. But this is kind of what we need to tackle. And I don't know if we're gonna get it all tackled today. I told myself, don't overwhelm yourself, get 2 or 3 trash bags, and then that way we can take that to Goodwill this week, rinse, repeat, recycle another 2 or 3 trash bags. Because if I try to get the whole closet done, y'all are gonna see me have a mental breakdown. Get rid of that bra. I haven't worn these shorts, but maybe it's time to bring them out because it's summer. Honestly, all this stuff I wear. Oh my goodness. I have officially finished spring cleaning, and I thought I'd give you guys a little sit down and chat moment about Love Island as it is airing. When is it airing, actually? June 2nd, next Tuesday. So when this video comes out, it'll be airing the next day. To kind of give y'all the process of how I applied for Love Island, what that interview process looked like, all the things that happened to me when I was in Fiji, how I actually almost gave up being in my hotel so long and sent myself home. So straight out of college, I got into this Marriott Voyager program that required a rotational experience in different departments to develop yourself in like leadership roles. So it's a little bit different than like going into like an entry-level position straight out of college. It kind of prepares you for that management level role and experience, which was a cool experience. It just wasn't something that was for me. I majored in hospitality management, but I realized with that internship, hospitality is actually nothing that I wanted to do. I was a rooms and operations supervisor, which required a lot of like housekeeping work, but yes, I was in rotations. I was going through a lot of mental challenges with this job. I saw myself kind of transition into this person that I was not really happy with, nor was I happy going into work. So the best thing for me was like, let that go. I think the craziest thing when I was working for Marriott, because I was so mentally checked out, that was another variable that pushed me to really apply for Love Island. It was so weird. I remember vividly sitting on my couch, hungover, eating ramen, and I was watching The Proposal. And I was scrolling on Instagram and I see applications now open on the Love Island USA page. And I go, maybe this would be a good time for me to apply. Like, you're not in anything serious. You hate your job. You're also terrified of the men here. What's the worst that could happen? I woke up for work the next day. I'm in my hotel job. and I get a text saying, hey Taylor, we just got your Love Island application. I'd love to set a 15-minute call. Mind you, this was the next day that I had put in the application. And I was like, holy crap, let there be signs. And like, I was in a full year process of Love Island, and then me flying out there June 2023, which is crazy. With the longevity of how long this interview process took, I was very selective of the people that I told. I was still living my life. Like, I was still dating, I was still hanging out with friends. Once I got through the executive producer, I don't think I heard anything for like a month. I was literally coming off my shift working at Westlake Dermatology. I remember getting a text from one of the producers. Hey Taylor, we have some news, like give me a call when you can. I give her a call and she's like, hey Taylor, how's your day going? I was like, it's going good. What is going on? Like, what is this update? And she was like, well, I have some news for you and you're going to Fiji. I was like, is this actually real? She was like, this is actually real. We want you to come to Fiji. But what they don't tell you is that when you fly out to Fiji, this does not mean you're going on the show. I realized too, when I was in Fiji, you may not get selected. I didn't read that part of the contract. There's so much things that you have to do before you go on the show. We had to take COVID tests. I had to get a physical. I had to get my STD. I had to do a 4-hour psychology exam. I didn't know what to expect from this experience. I really didn't. I went into this experience with no expectation. I had a layover, so I went from DFW to LAX to Fiji. I flew out June 25th, 2023. As you're in this overwhelming process, and when you get flown out, you're just kind of overwhelmed. You're meeting also so many people on the production side, and it's a very cool process to be involved with. Once you get flown out to Fiji, the process is kind of chaotic because as you're still kind of understanding what's happening, they're also trying to figure out what their moves are and who they're putting in the villa. So what my process looked like was I first met with the executive producers. Wardrobe actually told me pick out something like very fun and like that represents you. And I wore this 2-piece yellow set with like a little yellow bow in my hair, and I still had my wig at the time, and she ate down, in which my interview went very well. I feel like I had a great conversation. Once I met with the executive producers, that's kind of when I was in my hotel for a minute. I was in my hotel for 32 days. They have a big team on site to make sure that like you're fed, you're getting your dinner, you're getting your meals. You can't really go outside, so your room is your safe space. Obviously, I was a Casa Amor girl. How that process looked was my first 2 weeks, I got to have my phone, and then they took my phone. They still gave us things to do. We got a Roku, but in my case, like the Roku's kind of ran out. So I had like DVDs, I had coloring books. If you need to contact someone from production, that's kind of what they gave you, this little like burner phone. My burner phone had like little games on it. I'm sure you guys are wondering like, how did you not go stir crazy? Oh, believe me. My mental sanity was going berserk. You lose track of the days, you lose track of the time. On top of that, you get out maybe 20 to 30 minutes a day to go to a little gym that they build out there. And like, mind you, Fiji, I didn't really get to see. The only part I really got to see, I feel like, was when I was like actually in the villa and when I was transporting to do my intros. At the end of the day, I was still in Fiji. I was happy to be out of the country. I was happy to get this opportunity. I didn't know I was gonna be a Casa Amor girl until July 31st. I came in the villa August 4th. And believe it or not, it got to the point where I actually had to start writing down the dates in my hotel of what day it was, and like knowing like, okay, I flew out June 25th, and like really keeping track of my days. When I was in there for a good 2.5 weeks, I did get the call and they let me know we have selected 8 cast members to be our OG. When I got that call, I was disappointed. I really wanted to be an OG. There's so many moments in your life that leads you to the point of where you are today and how everything works out, and everything works out for a reason. And as a couple more weeks went on, I really started to keep a smile on my face. I was still grateful, but my mental state, it was dwindling. And I will say that they do have a therapist on site, in which I actually still talk to my Love Island therapist to this day. It is so nice to have a therapist when you are in that mental state of not knowing what's going on, not speaking to your family, not speaking to your friends. Being secluded in this tiny space, it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. And it was something that I hadn't gone through, especially with not having my phone or no social media. I will say the bright side of that was having a good social media cleanse as well, not being influenced going on my phone. And that really allowed me the time to self-reflect and actually think about the things that I want in life. My career trajectory, what I want in a relationship, what I wanted to get out of this experience, how I was going to go into this experience. I was telling casting producers I wanted to go for someone who is just completely different and completely opposite of me. Having that time in that hotel room really allowed me to self-reflect and kind of find myself. And I was very grateful for that experience as well, because there were so many things and there were so many different variables that went into me to get to this point. Also not giving up. Like, there was times that I did want to up and leave. Something told me to keep myself there. When the show started, I actually had to turn in notes to production. So once they announced the OGs and the show officially aired, I got to watch everything. I got to watch everything up until the point until I came in. And they make you turn in notes after each episode. So that was also a kind of thing that allowed me kind of my sanity, I would say, is a team member would come to your room and you would get like screen time, just the downloaded episode on an iPad. And Bergie was actually always on my top 3. And I actually wish I had my notes to this day, because when Bergie came on my screen, and I literally wrote in my notes, this boy plays with action figures, and he does, because we both play with Legos. He just gave nerdy, I feel like, who doesn't love a good nerdy side to someone who is introverted. I feel like you have a lot of, layers to uncover. And that's actually what piqued my interest with Berkey, is that I was like, this boy is shy. He didn't have dating experience. As I kept watching the episodes, I found myself getting more and more attracted to him. Like, there would be clips of him like making pancakes. There would be clips of him working out. And I was like, this guy is actually like really cute. He has nice abs and he seems like a really sweet guy. He's someone that like now I'm like kind of growing that mutual attraction to, and I've just seen him on my screen. I haven't even met him. The 5th week there in my hotel, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm not going in. And there had been bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. Kind of was starting to get very less hopeful of my chances of going in and, getting the chance to even talk to Bergie. I actually wrote down the date of when I wanted to tell production I want to send myself home and I don't think this experience is going to work out. It was August 1st, and I remember this so vividly because my mental state, it wasn't great. I think it was like 2 days before I got a call from someone on the production team and said, Taylor, you have been so patient. We have such great news for you. You are going to be the creme de la creme Casa Amor girl. You are going in the villa. And I started crying. I wish I could call my mom at that point. I started crying because I was like, there's no way in hell. I was literally gonna call production and let them know I do not want to do this experience anymore. I want to go home. I want to see my family. I need to leave. And then my life just changed in a blink of an eye of me getting told that I was going in the villa. And you guys, when I got that call of me going into the villa, there was something in me that I felt like this is about to change my life. And I don't know, I can't even explain that feeling. That's just what I felt in that moment. And I had immediately said to myself, God is placing me in this experience for a certain reason, and I need to just go into this experience like fully with my heart. I got to film the fun parts of like our intro. I walk in with the Casa girls, in which I loved all the Casa Amor girls, in which I don't speak to most people from my season. The only people I really speak to is Imani. You start to realize that a lot of people are in things for clout, and that's just not who I am. I don't really associate like myself with fake people. And I just like real genuine people who are real friends. I wish I would have gotten the friendships that season 6 Islanders got, the close relationship that Janae and Leah and Serena have. Like, they have like a sisterhood, and I wish I would have had that from my season. But I feel like a lot of people were on that season with just the intention of fame. And I think that's inevitable, because you know, when you're in that type of environment, everyone knows they're gonna get some sort of clout. I'm not choosing a person to be in a fake relationship for clout though. Like, that's something that's out of my character. That's not my story either of why I chose Bergie. When I was in that villa, my dating experience, it was something that was a constant reminder. Things haven't worked out because you haven't allowed yourself to let your guard down. And that's exactly what I went in there to do. And there was one guy who I did speak to. I won't even say his name. And, you know, I was like, this is the time to be vulnerable, open up. And I had shared something that was close to me, and he went and told all of the boys in the villa. And actually, that's what initiated Bergie to come talk to me, and was like, that's a girl that I actually want to get to know and have that sort of emotional connection with. I truly do believe whatever happens, happens for a reason. That conversation that I had with that guy in the villa obviously led Bergie to strike interest in me as well and get to know me, which brings me to our first conversation. We had the most authentic first conversation you could ever have. It was almost like I was talking to someone I knew for a very long time and was very comfortable with. And he gave me the security of reassurance. And that's exactly what I was missing in dating. I was always left on a string. I loved that Bergie was able to communicate his feelings and reassure me, and then vice versa with me. Also, had to have patience with someone who didn't have really dating experience. And that was something that I actually had to navigate as well. He didn't really understand like body language, social cues, and that was something that I actually had to teach him in the villa, which was a hard thing to navigate because there's so many variables that I'm navigating. It's, you know, getting to know a new person. I like this person. I'm slightly attracted to this person, but then this person is very awkward and shy. And it's like, there are so many things that I had to learn how to be patient with when it came to Bergie. That experience really just led me to understand him and understand, you know, how he works when he's in a relationship. But it took time. It really took time. And I'm not gonna sit here and say like, I had that first initial spark with Bergie. My spark grew over time. Like, he was someone who I was interested in. I had great casual fun conversations with him. He was just very awkward and shy, and I had to get him out of his comfort zone, which was a very hard thing for me too, because I also was in that mindset of like, cameras are around me. I don't want to get the edit of me being that sexual person. But at the end of the day, it's like when you're in a relationship, like those things matter. Went through some crazy times in the villa. We would kiss and then it would feel off, or it would feel like he's not getting it. And I'm like, I've never had this issue before of like making out with a guy and they don't know how to make out with me. It's like, you know, I've never had to really teach anyone that. It was just more so just being patient with him, and that's exactly what helped mine and his relationship in that villa. Also him communicating and us trying to understand each other of how we both operate. We had a bunch of highs and we had a bunch of lows. I will never forget the time when Bergie and I actually had a real genuine conversation. This is peak me just being like, man, I really want this man to be mine. I really like this man. I'm actually getting very comfortable with him. The sexual chemistry is there, the emotional connection is there. And I'm like, what's not to love about this guy? He's sweet, he's genuine, he has great intentions, he's here to find love. And I didn't go into this experience, you know, forcing myself to find love. It kind of found me and I was open to it. But I think that was the journey of this experience. It was something that really allowed me to self-reflect and learn how to date and be vulnerable with someone. And he was that guy who I actually let down my guard with and let those walls down. And we got to have conversations that never got to get shown. I remember us in the pool. We were in the pool for like 2.5 or 3 hours. And we were talking about everything you would talk about in a relationship if you were on the outside world of like politics, religion, where you see yourself in your career, your motivations, your aspirations, all of that. Like we had the most authentic and great conversation when we were in the pool. We had a lot of similarities, in which is another thing that drew me to Bergie. He is respectful, he's genuine. He's not here to pressure me in any sort of way. And he listens, he communicates. He's like literally checking all my boxes. With that experience came out my fiance and my future husband. Coming out of that, coming into the real world, that has to be a topic that I have to touch on another time of how we manage our relationship in the public's eye, how was coming out of that transition from being on TV into the real world, how we went back to our normal lives, our 9-to-5s, his work, my job, how we went back to our families. That is just a little, I guess, a whole worth of insight of Love Island experience. Let me know what you guys would like to hear for the next video. I'm gonna end it here. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next time in TayTayz-World.